What's up, guys? So I want to do something kind of fun and off-the-wall ridiculous tonight. So, as you know, if you've been watching any of my videos, you know I have the brand new LG C1 and I've tested the crap out of it. I've compared it to the LG C10. So I've recently moved the LG C10 up into the bedroom because the C1 is replacing the C10 and the C1 is now my permanent PC monitor. So up in the bedroom, I had this TV. I've had this TV since 2010. It's the Samsung UN466500. It was the first, I believe, one of the first LED-LCD TVs to come out from Samsung back in 2010. So you remember when the first LCDs started coming out in the early 2000s, they were kind of thick. They had those thicker backlighting systems. And then around 2010, 2009-10 timeframe, they started switching over to LED LCDs, and the LED is the light emitting diode backlight. It still uses a similar backlighting technology to LCD, but LED lights they're smaller, so you're able to get a thinner profile. This TV is very, very thin, this Samsung. It's probably only like 3/4 of an inch, maybe an inch or so thick. So it has that going for it, and it also, LEDs are more energy efficient. They can get brighter than regular LCDs. So when I got this TV back in 2010, it blew my mind. I was coming from a sharp, kind of old school, like 2007 LCD, 1080p sharp. This is 1080p, this Samsung. And when I hooked it up to a Blu-ray player, I remember I watched, I want to say Terminator Salvation was one of the first movies I watched in Blu-ray, 1920 by 1080p, and I wet myself with just pure excitement. I thought the contrast ratio was amazing back then, and it was for its time. This is a 46-inch TV, this Samsung, and it was $2,200. I got it from, I want to say I got it from, was it Sears? I think it was Sears, which isn't even in business anymore. It's just crazy. So I thought it would be kind of fun to take a look at what was considered state of the art, television performance back in the 2009, 2010-ish time frame, and compare it to what is considered now state of the art television performance in 2021 with the LG C1. Obviously the C1 should far outperform this Samsung, but it's just interesting to see how far TV technology has come in 10, 11, 12 years or so. I kind of been looking, I had no intention of really doing this. I'm just gonna give this TV away to my sister-in-law. She wants a TV for her bedroom. I was gonna sell it for maybe $100. I thought maybe I'll get $100 on Craigslist for this thing. It's crazy to think this was $2,200 just a decade ago. Now I might get $100 for it. It's just, time flies, technology flies. But one thing I will say about this Samsung is it's been really good to me. I have not had a single issue with this thing. It's no dead pixels, no malfunctions, no sort of recall issues, nothing. It's worked flawlessly for 11 years now, 11 plus years. This thing has been amazing. So if I can get the same 10, 11 years out of my C1, which I highly doubt given that it's OLED, I would be more than pleased. So I figured what I would do is I will bring up YouTube and I will play something in 4K HDR on the C1, and then I'll play the same thing on the UN466500 Samsung here, and just see how they compare in terms of picture quality. Obviously, the OLED being self-emissive, it should have far superior contrast. Obviously, it's going to have far superior color, being that it's going to be using, Rec 2020 and P3 color gamuts when showing HDR10. Obviously, it's a 10-bit panel, so it has more gradations of color. This TV is just SDR, 8-bit, 1080p, kind of run-of-the-mill. So let's try and see what we get here. Let's get on YouTube and then we'll test them out and we'll turn the lights off and see how they perform. The C1 better blow this thing away, otherwise I want my damn money back. In full disclosure, to try to make things sort of equal, what I'll do is I will run the LG C1 in filmmaker mode with default settings, and then I'll run the UN46-inch 6500 Samsung in cinema mode, which is its most accurate mode, and we'll see how they stack up. Let's do this. So that was a lot of fun. I'll tell you what, for being 11 plus years old and being an edge lit 1080p LED LCD TV, the Samsung UN466500 didn't do too bad in certain areas. I thought there'd be a lot more blooming and light bleed with the Samsung, but besides this one spot in the upper right hand corner, which tended to be kind of a light bleedy hot spot on the Samsung LED LCD, it wasn't that bad. It had pretty decent blacks, like I said, for an edge lit panel. But when it came to everything else, obviously the C1 just absolutely slaughtered the Samsung television. I mean, perfect blacks, which really showed in person. It's kind of hard to convey the differences on camera. Trust me, in person, it's even more stark. As you can see, I'm editing this video now in post-production in DaVinci Resolve, and what I'm seeing from the camera is not nearly as stark as the differences were in person. Really, the contrast is just inky jet black on the C1, as you would expect from an OLED. But also, the big difference between the two sets is not just the brightness, which the C1 is far brighter than the Samsung, far brighter, but to me, it's the color expression. It's the fact that the C1 was really pushing those P3 and Rec 2020 color gamuts in HDR, and it just really showed. It had deep, deep reds. It had bright yellow flower colors. That the Samsung, in comparison, it was just a muted kind of yellow, a muted sort of red. It just didn't have that pop, that vibrancy, and that contrast, which is to be expected. You're comparing, like I said, 10-bit content with a wide color gamut in 750 to 800 nits of peak brightness against something that has 8-bit reproduction with standard Rec 709 color gamut and probably about 200 to 225 nits of peak brightness. So it's not exactly a fair comparison, and it shouldn't be, because this is a much, much newer, state-of-the-art, modern 2021 television against what was, like we said, a state-of-the-art television that released in 2010. So hopefully you guys had a little bit of fun with this video. I know I did. Like I said, I never anticipated that I would be comparing these two TVs, because what's the point? But like I said in the introduction, it's fun to see the evolution of technology. Sometimes we take for granted just how much things have evolved from 2010 even. It just seems like 10 or 11 years, you know, that's not that long ago. Things haven't changed that much. Where really, when you look at a comparison like this, things have changed pretty immensely. And obviously it's not just televisions, it's everything. And so it makes you wonder what TVs are going to look like and other technology is going to look like in, say, 2031. Let's mark it down right here. If I still have a YouTube channel, and hopefully I'm alive and you're alive, in 2031 or 2032, if this C1 is still kicking and I still own it, which I probably won't because I'm a videophile and I'm always buying new ones and selling my old ones, but if I still have it, I will match up this 2021 C1 against whatever the hell is going to exist in 2031 or 2032. By then, it probably won't be any sort of framed picture screen like this. It'll be some sort of hologram that'll be 3D in nature, that'll just project up from your desk. But if that's what we have then, I'll compare the two and we'll see where we stand then. All right, guys, hopefully you've had fun with this video. If you have, leave a like, leave a comment down below telling me what you think, and please subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys later. Peace.